Love should be easy. Why should it not?
We've been streaming now for 4 hours, and now we're finally getting to the biggest Ask a Teacher I have ever done. I don't even know what number Ask a Teacher this is. I haven't done an Ask a Teacher like official video like this in about 3 years. So this is gonna be pretty substantial, if you know what I mean. You might even say that my accent is racist. You might say that. Because people can be offended by anything. Hi guys. You know what? My name is George Trombley and I teach Japanese. I've been teaching Japanese for like 1 million entire years. I wrote these books series here, and I every now and then do live streams on the Japanese from Zero channel, and when I do them, I often say, hey guys, after the live stream, come into our Discord and ask me questions. And what people have done is they have DM'd me on Discord, and I spent the last hour and a half or so answering those questions. Here we are. We're going to go right through, I don't know, maybe 20. This is a lot of questions, but I think you're going to enjoy it. Hopefully this is one of those videos that you just put on the background and enjoy, because there's a lot of variety. What I would say is you should watch this, because there's a lot of questions that you won't even realize exist. And it's not something that you looked up, so you're going to get some information that you never heard before. Maybe. All right, here we go. Welcome to Ask a Teacher Live. It's kind of live. I prepared it for the last hour and a half. All right, here we go. Vorvadas says, you guys can see me, we're good. Vorvadas says, I'm using bullet journaling to practice handwriting and Japanese. And how can I check if my handwriting is legible and natural looking? That is a very good question, because a lot of times you don't know, so you think you're doing good. I would say the other thing you have to worry about is not only are you might be wrong with what it looks like, but if you're looking at a font in a book, you're definitely not going to be doing it right most of the time. Now, in Japanese from Zero, I don't mean to promote, wasn't even going to do this, but I just now remembered. We teach stuff like that. I don't know if you can, it's so bright. So oh wait, hang on. So we teach stuff like, oh, it's so bright. Come on. Oh, my white balance. Okay. So right here, you can see that we teach incorrect and correct for certain things that are really a common mistake. And we have it here in the book. And then we have this little, I don't know if you can see it, it's a little bit small. And because of my white balance, I can't push the book too far forward. But we have what's called various styles. Okay. And these fonts are all written fonts. So for example, we said here, look at the various possible styles for the hiragana in this lesson. Write each symbol as neatly as you can, then compare it to the different versions below. So that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to kind of correct based on what you see from your writing. But there's another way to do it. What if you don't have Japanese from Zero book? What if you don't want to fall into my very snazzy marketing that I just did to promote the book? Well, you can do HelloTalk app. HelloTalk is an app that if I could show you right now, I would, but I made a video on it, and you know what? I forgot to put it in here. I made an entire video on it. I'm going to throw up a UR code on the screen right now, and you can go watch that video by holding your phone up to the screen with your camera app open. A little thing will pop up once it recognizes the QR code. You can click that and go right to the video. It's a very good video where I actually start with a brand new account and meet brand new people on there, and you can see where you could then make those friends, and you could, hey, would you mind looking at my my handwriting? Another thing you could do, let's say you're shy or no one bites. Let's say you don't want to directly approach somebody to do it, or they don't buy. Like they're like, I don't want to help you. Like they feel like you're taking advantage of them, because there are people like that, right? Well, there is a function in HelloTalk app called Moments, and it's different name in every language, but Moments in English, okay? So you can go up there and randomly post to the entire community, and you say, "Dareka watashi no ji o mite kuremasu ka?" or something like that. Will somebody look at my handwriting, please? You know, is it kore yomemasu ka? Can you read this? And throw it up there, and people will definitely give you feedback. All right, that's one way. Another way is a little bit costly. Not a little bit, just a little bit, not a lot. Italki.com is a place that I have used a ton. By the way, I'm not sponsored by anybody in this video. Okay, Italki.com is a place where you can go get a Japanese teacher. You can get a Japanese teacher or a tutor. Now, the teachers that are up on Italki.com are all they all have licenses. So they are officially licensed to be teachers of the language, not just Japanese, Korean, Chinese. I have done French teacher, Chinese teacher, Japanese teacher, Korean teacher, and just the other day, I'll throw a link up to this. Just the other day, I was searching for a Tagalog teacher of all things, and I'll throw a video up to that with the QR code again. Open up your phone. You don't need a QR reader on all new phones. This is a function you might not have known about. You don't need the open up line to do it. You just open up your picture, open up your camera app, and you point it to the QR code and it'll pop up a little link. You click it and you can go and you can watch it, okay? So, and as a matter of fact, I recommend you do that. You know, even if it takes you multiple hours to get through a video, because I keep recommending QR codes, why not? Why not make it a day? Why not, imagine you went to the George Trombley School of Japanese and I was the teacher there and I was showing you stuff all day long. That's basically what we're doing here. All right. So that QR code should be over here. All right. Moving on. Next question is from Dr. Durla. I love this question. This is an excellent question. What is the difference between mo and mo? Notice the difference. One is short, mo, and one is long, mo. Now, even though it's mo-u, the Japanese just keep that sound going, mo, okay? I have seen both used in Japanese writing to mean also. And I guess right now, because you are writing in romanization, in romaji, that you don't know hiragana, so I went ahead and put some romaji on here, but normally I don't want to do that because it's just too much work for me, especially when we're going for these marathon sessions of Ask a Teacher. Okay, so here we go. Mo is a very important part of the Japanese language. It is a marker. It is the inclusion marker. What does that mean? It means anything that you put this after is changed into something that's included in all the other things you were talking about. Okay, essentially it's to or also. So if you say something mo, it means the something also. Okay, and I'll give you an example in just a second. Okay, mo is not a particle. Okay, it is a word that means already or not anymore. This is taught in Japanese from Zero, book 2, lesson 6. Okay, mo means already in a positive statement and not anymore in a negative statement, in a negative conjugated verb. Let's look at the examples. All right, here we go. So we've got watashi mo kaerimasu. Very simple sentence. If we look here at where the mo falls, you'll notice that the mo comes where the wa would be. So if I said watashi wa kaerimasu, let's say that someone says watashi wa kaerimasu, it means I'm going to go home. My voice was getting a little bit hoarse. Okay, so watashi wa kaerimasu means I will go home. Then you could say after that, watashi mo kaerimasu. I'm gonna go home too. I'm also going home. Both of those are the exact same meaning, okay? Watashi mo kaerimasu. Now this is an extensive answer, but anytime mo is there, it means also, okay? Then there's the mo. So we're gonna take the exact same sentence, okay? So we have watashi mo kaerimasu, which means I'm gonna go home too. Now we've got watashi, comma, or a watashi wa could be there. Watashi mo kaerimasu. Watashi mo kaerimasu. This lengthening makes it a completely different thing. And you'll notice that the watashi mo on the top, the mo there is connected to the noun, the thing that's also being included. The way particles work is they come after a word, but they change it. They change it into the topic. They change it to something that's included. They change it into the subject or to an object. As you learn more Japanese, you'll learn these particles. They sound hard when you don't know, but they're not. Okay, so here it's watashi wa, or just watashi with a little bit of a pause. Mo kaerimasu. The mo is now modifying the verb. It's kind of like an adverb here. It's saying how the verb works, right? I'm going home already. Completely different statement, right? This just means like I'm going home already, all right? I'm going home already. If it's used with a positive conjugated verb, it is already. Okay, next one. Watashi mo kaerimasen. Watashi mo kaerimasen. This is a completely different meaning once you make it into the negative. It means I'm not going home anymore. Maybe you were going to go home, but now you're never going to go home. Now, this is what I'm not going to go home anymore is a pretty big statement. If you were going to say, I'm not going home yet, you would say something, mada. Watashi wa mou, or mada kaerimasen, means I'm not going home yet. But if let's say you're at someone's house, it gets really late, and you decide, you know what, I was going to go home, but I'm not going to go home now, whatever. Watashi wa mou kaerimasen. I'm not going to go home anymore. That means I was going to go. I've changed my mind, okay? There's other ways to say this, but this is the juxta of what mo and mo do. All right, next question. Thank you for that one. Limpathy says, ask a teacher question. Ordering a steak at a Japanese restaurant. I never quite catch when they ask me how I would like it cooked. Can you tell me how a server would ask me how I prefer my steak cooked? And also some good responses like rare maybe. Okay, this one I had to think for a second. I was like, oh my God, how do they ask that? But, and I haven't like confirmed it with my wife. It's too late. But this is how I remember it being asked typically. The most polite way. Yakikata wa dou nasaimasu ka? So dou nasaimasu ka is a formal Japanese word meaning what are you going to do? It's like saying dou shimasu ka? What will you do for your yakikata? Yakikata means the way you want it to be cooked, okay? So, yakikata wa dou nasaimasu ka? They wouldn't say dou shimasu ka. It's a little bit too casual feeling for a waitress. They might even throw steaki no yakikata wa dou nasaimasu ka? What are you going to do with the cooking method of your steak? Yakikata means method of cooking, all right? So, how would you like it cooked? Now, here is just something I pulled off the internet, okay? And it's actually got a nice little explanation of what each one is. I don't have any furigana on here. Furigana, by the way, for those of you that don't know, it's this, can you see my mouse? Yeah, my mouse is a little bit tiny, but you can see right here. Furigana are these little hiraganas on top, and they're almost always hiragana, but they don't call it hiragana. They call it furigana because it's written above it. It's futte. Don't worry about it. Furigana is just, it's attached on top to give you the reading of the kanji, okay? So these don't have furigana, which means you're supposed to be able to read it. But here we got rea. Okay, rea means rare. It's all English, by the way. And this says 3割ほど焼いた状態. A condition where it's been cooked about 30%. I didn't know that. I'm actually learning what this means right now. And then you've got medium rare, which is 5割ほど, as much as 50%. Wari means T%. 30%, 50%. 5 wari is 5 parts, 5 divisions, okay? But it means 50, okay? 5割ほど焼いた状態, okay? It's a condition where it has been cooked as much as 50%. Then you've got medium, which is 7割, 70% cooked, and well done, which is zentai, the entire portion of it has been cooked. Good question. And now I would like filet mignon. Thank you. All right. Hello, my name's Jeff. Someone watches PewDiePie. My name is Jeff. Anything quick about relative clauses? That would be great. Also, koto ga, to nominalize, or just nominalization of the verbs in general. Thank you. Wow, this is such a quickie question for me. Dude, I can handle this in like 2 minutes, guys. Watch, I'll be done. Watch, you're gonna be impressed. I'll be done with this in about 10 seconds. Ready? Boom. Here we go. Magic. Ready? It didn't go to the next thing. I'm sure. There we go. Scan this QR code and you can watch the lesson where I talk about what I think is the most important Japanese grammar ever. It is actually lesson 95 in the Japanese from Zero video series. As you know, we now have 100 videos. If you scan that, it'll go directly to that video. I don't put it in the thumbnail because the term relative clause, I don't think most people know that term. I'm not a big fan of huge grammatical. I do say it in the video. It is in the description, but for me, it's just using verbs to describe. And that's what this is. Also, make sure you follow the follow-up. There's a follow-up video called The Hipster, which is like a fun little movie that I made using the relative clauses. So scan that. Just the way you scan it is passively. You just turn. I'm going to say it a million times because most people don't know this. You're going to take your camera. You go into the camera app, the native camera app that comes with the phone. You just, in photo mode, not video mode, in photo mode, you hold it, wait for a second, thing will pop up, you click it, it'll open up the YouTube app and everything on your phone, okay? Matter of fact, from now on, You should only watch my videos. From now on, I'm going to be using these QR codes. You should watch my video on another device and then have your phone nearby so you can scan things that I'm recommending you scan. This is the new way we're going to do it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And there's functionality coming from the website very soon where you can scan and do something on the website. So keep that in mind. All right. Thank you for the question. But you had one more question. I think I can answer that also very quick. Boom. Yes, making verbs into nouns. I'm sorry I didn't have a higher quality clip. I had to stretch this up my thumbnail very, very much. But this is a video I think I made 6 years ago or something like that in a Japanese in 5. And I haven't reviewed it, but I'm pretty sure I cover that particular topic. Thank you for the question. Moving on. All right, this is from Moshi Moshi. He says, "Hi George. This question lingers around for quite some time until now. Would be really glad if you answer this. The difference of 多分いないです and いないようです. This is, it might seem tricky, but it's not really tricky. It's actually pretty simple when you put it in your head. All right, so 多分いないです. 多分 means maybe. It can be a standalone answer even. Like if someone says, "Are you going tomorrow?" You can say 多分, okay? And it can be about you. It could be about someone else, right? You don't know, but it's a guess. You think maybe, just like English. It's nothing different from English. Maybe. And here we have inai, which means they're not there, okay? Now, granted, I don't know the context. But we know that the iru verb means to exist, something that's alive, to exist, or to have something that's alive, okay? So, for example, I could say, let's use the word garufrendo instead of kanojo. Kanojo can mean she or girlfriend, but let's just make garufrendo, okay? Garufrendo. Garufrendo wa tabun inai desu. That could mean maybe his girlfriend isn't there. Maybe his girlfriend is there, making a guess. Or it could mean maybe he doesn't have a girlfriend, all contextually. We don't know. If we're calling someone on the phone, you might say, "Oh, just this answer. 多分いないです. They might not be there. Maybe they're not there. I don't think they're..." It's almost as close to saying, "I don't think they're there." It's a guess. Okay? Very important. Or, "Hey, do you think Jeff has a girlfriend?" 多分いないです. Probably not. Probably don't have one. Okay? So just keep that in mind. So maybe they're not there. Maybe I won't be there. We won't worry about the have or not have because that was a bonus thing. And here's the important part. It's a guess. Remember that. Tabun is a guess. You have no facts when you say maybe. Okay? Inai you desu. This means they don't seem to be there. Now, even in English, we know that they don't seem to be there is not just a guess. It's an observation. Yeah, inai you desu. Or it's some sort of information is there and you think, they don't seem to be there. Okay? All right, that's the difference, okay? It doesn't mean maybe. Inayo, this is never means maybe, okay? It's a guess with observation, okay? Hopefully that answered your question. Hopefully I didn't screw it up. All right, moving on. I should have looked at this name. Fetus deletus. What would you recommend for a beginner who is learning hiragana? I'm gonna learn some hiragana. Guys, man, did you guys learn that hiragana over there last week? Yeah, man, that hiragana be real fun. I learned up the kaki kuke goes over there. Hiragana, yeah. I'm gonna learn the katakana next. You know what I'm saying? It's hiragana, common typo. Hiragana, okay. Or katakana. What do you recommend for a beginner who is learning hiragana? Should I start with Genki or your books first? Which is better to do professionally? Which is better do you professionally believe to be the best for self-study? What do you want me to say here, Fetus Deletus? Japanese from Zero obviously is the winner. Obviously. Now, I would say wait a little bit. Within about a month, we have a revision coming out. This book doesn't force hiragana down your throat. You learn it in small increments, and by lesson 9, you know all the hiragana. Then when you get to book 2, you slowly learn katakana while learning. There's no pressure. You learn it and it gets replaced little by little, okay? The revisions are coming real soon. like super soon. So please, weirdly, I'm saying don't buy it yet. Wait, it's going to be better. We made a font change that makes the font just a little bit better when it's mixed with the romanization. Okay, now, you can't believe me though, because I wrote those books. Do you realize this is my name? You cannot trust my opinion on my book. Do you think if you asked the people that wrote Genki what would be the best book, that they would ever say, Japanese from Zero is really good? I don't think they would. Now, is Genki a good book? I've heard good things about it. I have it in the back here. I've looked at it a little bit. I really don't know. And even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. I would lie to you. Probably. The one thing about Genki that I've heard, one complaint, is that there's a lot of pair exercises in there. Now, I noticed we have a few pair exercises, very limited in Japanese from Zero Book 1. But in the revision, I just made a bunch of jokes about people not having friends instead. It's more fun. All right. Or an alternative question, what are some good memorization techniques for the hiragana? Do some memorization techniques for the hiragana. Use it. Read it and use it. One thing I like to do, well, of course, the kanji is a little bit difficult, but if you buy a children's book, they'll have furigana on top, which I've taught earlier in this. I don't know if this is like one question at a time that I'm going to release, or if it's the entire show. I hope it's the entire show. But furigana is that little katakana on. Here, I'll show you in book 5. It's going to be a little bit hard to see, only because of the white balance of the camera. It's a little bit too tiny, honestly, without my glasses on. But so in the gosh darn it, let's see. Come on. You can't see it. It's too much. It's too tiny. Do I have any big graphics that would explain it? It's just little hiragana on top to help you read. If you get a children's book, they'll always have that. Okay, if they even have kanji at all. Sometimes they just have spaced hiragana and katakana. But those are good books to read too, for you when you're learning. And you could learn, like, what I like to do is I get a book that's already a book that I know and I like that's in English, right? And then I buy the Japanese version or the Korean version of it. So, for example, I have Time Machine, which is a great book by H.G. Wells. I have that in Korean. I have Goosebumps. I have the English version, the Korean version, and the Japanese version, and the Chinese version, right? One day I'll read them all. I haven't done it, but it's a plan, all right? There we go on that. Thank you for the question. All right. Bogey says, is there a specific way to mean my favorite something? Example, my favorite band. To make sure the nuance of the sentence is, this is my favorite band, the one I like the most over all the others. I was thinking of, このバンドは私の一番好きなバンドです. That would completely work. You could also say, 好きなバンドです often gets translated as favorite. I always think of it just means a band that I like. So the ichiban really does a good job of saying the most band that I like, okay? But there's one more method I want to show you, okay? Okiniiri no bando desu. Okiniiri literally is favorites for the internet. And this is another way to say favorite. Okiniiri no bando desu. Now, you could even make this stronger by saying ichiban okiniiri no bando desu. All right? Good question. Thank you. All right, Zet Horse says, question, actually he has a French accent, I think. Which Japanese dramas or shows that you are not teaching Japanese, that are not teaching Japanese, do you recommend? Probably he's got a way better accent than this. This is even a good French accent. For watching the same way that you recommend for podcasts. So the way I recommend podcasts, for those of you that don't know, is I recommend you listen to a bunch of Japanese podcasts, but not ones that are designed to teach Japanese, because they teach a different style of Japanese. Even I do, right? We teach sentences that are textbook sentences with no variation. But when you watch a drama or an anime or listen to a podcast that's made for native speakers, there's all sorts of crazy things that come up that you won't be ready for. And there's never the best one to watch, for the record. There's always going to be something in those dramas that are really hard, but learning's always uneven, and you're always going to learn weird things out of place. And you can't, over time, the more you listen to, the more you watch, your rockiness in Japanese will balance out, okay? I see that there are many on YouTube, but I don't know all of them, and I would like to know which one helped you in learning Japanese. So the thing that I used to learn Japanese was so long ago, but I did a thing where I would watch my favorite idols in movies because I liked the girls. So if you're a guy and you like girls, watch things about cute girls. That's absolutely the way to go because it's motivational, right? So I watched, I'm not going to give you these as recommendations. I actually have 2 recommendations I'm going to give you for slightly older dramas because I haven't watched a bunch of new ones. But I watched a movie called Yawara, which is a judo movie with Asaka Yui in it, who I love, who I was part of the fan club, who I went to her live concert when I was younger. And another movie that I watched, this is the one that I'd like to recommend that I watched. I don't recommend the movie, but I recommend this thing. Get a movie. Never pick one movie that you know is pretty decent, but you don't know any of the story. You cannot know the story. And you can never watch it with subtitles, ever. You watch it, and then you watch it again later, and then you watch it again later. As you're studying Japanese, as you're getting better. I did it with a movie called Kaito Ruby, which is a movie about a girl that wants to become a thief. And her name is Koizumi Kyoko. She's a 1990s or 1980s idol, another girl that I thought was cute. I was a big fan of her, but she was in this movie. And so in this movie, she moves into an apartment, and she gets this guy to help her be a thief. I gotta watch it again, okay? But if you watch it over and over again, you learn more about the movie every time as your Japanese gets better. It's really fun. And I remember watching Kaito Ruby and completely not understanding what it was about. And then over time, I was like, oh, that's what the movie's about? That's crazy. I didn't know that. So movies like that are fun. If you can even find Kaito Ruby, it's super old. But here I'm going to recommend 2 solidly old, but really, really enjoyable dramas. You have to watch something you like. My biggest advice would be, it doesn't matter what you watch, as long as you like it. If the story grabs you, if the girl's cute, if you're a girl and you like a guy and the guy's cute, whatever keeps you watching, watch it. All right? Here's what I recommend. GTO, Great Teacher Onizuka. This was originally I believe it was originally a manga. A manga? Is originally a manga? And then it was an anime? I think it's been an anime, and a manga. But I forgot the name of this guy. Odawara Yuji, I think. Odawara Yuji. The Odawara Yuji version, I love. Of the live version of it, GTO. You can probably honestly find this anywhere. Probably not like in legit places, because Japan doesn't like to sell legit things. Oh, sorry, my bad. What did we miss? We saw this, right? We saw the question, right? So sorry. So this is what I was trying to show you. So GTO, Great Teacher Onizuka. Really, really fantastic. I personally love ones where it's teacher versus student. I love teacher versus student. So you're going to see that that's exactly what Goksen is. Goksen is geniusly funny. So what Goksen is the teacher that teaches at the school. She wants to be a teacher, but she grew up in a Yakuza house, like a 3rd generation Yakuza family. So they're super rich as Yakuza, and they have all of the respect stuff. And when the students, they put her in the school, they put her in, I think it was class D or something like that. So she's in the worst class, right? Which is such a typical thing, even GTO, Japanese dramas, right? And they treat her like she's naive, but she puts them in their place, okay? Because she's raised as a Yakuza. Really, really fun, all right? Someone's recommending Terrace House, but I refuse to watch Japanese TV like that. Plus the girl killed her, so that's kind of sad for me. All right, moving on. Jafar says, this question's interesting. When do you read G as G and the sound compound from J as sh? Example, Janai is read J, but Giorno is read with a mix of J and sh. I'm sorry, Jafar, that's not true. They're both J sounds. There's no J. They're not saying Giorno. That might be whoever taught you Japanese knows that that's Giorno. Like me, that's like me going, a bolognese. Oh, I like the bolognese. That's not how they say it, probably, right? But now Giorno. I spit really bad right now. But that's not right. They're both Ja, Ju, Jo. They are all J sounds. Let me explain. Okay, so this is she. Okay, this is she in hiragana. And this little hash mark right here. You see this little hash marky thing? Sorry, my mouse is real tiny. But this little like 10 thingy here, This is called a dakuten, and the dakuten is what changes the sound. And the s sound for most letters are za. So like you got sa, shi, su, set, so is the set of hiragana. When you add dakuten to them, by the way, you can't add dakuten to anything. They have to exist. You can't just add it to like a, I, u, e, o. Although I've seen that. It's crazy. There's a different thing that does. It gives it like a muted sound. Don't think about that. Sa, shi, su, set, so becomes za, ji, zu, ze, zo. Okay? That might be what's confusing. I'm not sure. But let's look. You've got sha. There's not only is there sa, shi, su, se, so, then there's the compound hiragana, which is covered in the end of, you guessed it, my boy, Japanese from Zero Book 1, and covered in, the Jorono would be covered in Book 2, okay, because we teach hiragana and katakana respectively in those books. So, sha, shu, sho becomes ja, ju, jo when you add the hash marks, the dakuten, okay? So what you have is janai, right? You were correct there. It's always ja sound, right? Janai, okay? But this is never jorono like you're thinking, or shorono. It's jorono, okay? Jorono, right? It is a jo sound. Hopefully I understood your question. But hey, there's a lot. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad if you got this wrong completely and you wasted a question or something like that, because you didn't. Because sometimes knowing that you're wrong gives you a ton of strength later on. All right. Thank you. Moving on. AJDJ10 says, "Hi George. Thanks from Australia for the lesson. Was just wondering if it's necessary to learn Keigo. Keigo is the formal Japanese stuff like irashaimashita, goran ni narimashita. And we do teach that in Book 4. My boy, Book 4. All right? We start teaching it a little bit. We don't go too deep into it, but enough to give you a start, okay? The new revision will have a little bit more than what is in there right now. So anyway, as there's so much to learn in Japanese, so not sure if it's necessary. Like in the beginning, I don't teach it until Book 4 for a reason. You're not going to be in situations where, 1, you need Keigo, and 2, you're not expected to know it. It's too much, okay? And also, let's talk real just for a second. My entire Japanese history, I am very not Keigo. I'm 47. I went to Japan when I was 12. My first interpreting job was 17. And when I graduated high school, I was already in Japan 9 years when I left. I graduated and I stayed another 3 years. So I've been in Japan 9 years, right? Never really needed the Keigo, right? Now you could argue this is a religious debate maybe, but only very, very recently in my life did I realize, man, I'm a little bit too not Keigo. I need to probably use some every now and then, right? I'm only now like reflecting on it. When I released those videos where I said perfect Japanese and people are like, you're mixing this and that and you're not using the, I'm like, you know what, you're right. I probably could be a little bit more johin, elegant. It could be a little bit more elegant, okay? But is it necessary in the first few years? No, because they don't expect you to know it. They are excited that you even know konnichiwa in the first 6-7 months. I mean, look, man. I got complimented just crossing the crosswalk. I crossed the street and this random woman came up to me and said, "Wa, odan hodo wataru no wa jouzu." And I was like, what? Japanese people are excited even if you cross the crosswalk? Give me a second. Oh, shit. Something just fell off my shelf over here. At the worst timing, because I'm getting ready to show you a clip. I was videotaping at the time, and the lady was like, "Wow, you're so good at crossing the crosswalk." And I'm like, "Hey, you know what? Thank you." Hi guys, we're here in Japan, and as you know, Japanese people love everything that white people do. So we might speak some Japanese, we might do some other things, and they tend to really just be honest with you about things. Oh, nani? 横断歩道渡るのうまいですね。ありがとうございました。いや、ありがとうございました。 Yeah. それはアメリカでよくやってますから。Yeah, so wow, randomly, I don't know why she's following me. This girl just said I'm good at crosswalks. And that's a true story. The video footage shows it. All right, guys. So, okay, where are we? So yeah, do you need it? Yes, eventually. Here's when you're going to need it more than anything. You need to know it so that you can understand when you hear it. But do you need to use it? Gosh, that's such an iffy question. If you're a polite person in English, yes. I'm not polite in English, ever. I am very straight, curt, blunt. Ask people that work for me, right? It's not a bragging point. I'm kind of maybe just a jerk. But if someone says something to me, I do try to be polite. But when it gets to a point, I'm just like, no, just not going to do that. I'm sorry, just no. And another thing that I do, just between you and me, if I talk about you behind your back, I will tell you exactly what I said, most likely immediately after. Hey, Melanie, I just want to say we were talking real crappy about you earlier. Like one time, if you guys know, Ken Cannon's going to come up a little bit in this broadcast, so I'm going to mention it. But Ken Cannon is a friend of mine. I would like to think we're good friends. I'm not sure. Sometimes I'm not sure. I got to be honest. Because Ken will ignore me for a few days, and I'm more needy than that. Like, my need for Ken Cannon as a friend is more than his need for me as a friend. Maybe. I don't know. I'm purposely not responding quick now to be cool. Like, I don't get it. Like, I need a friend. I need a friend that's like me. And Ken is like me in many ways, and I like Ken. So anyway, Ken makes these... you're going to learn about it in a little bit because it's going to come up in a question I saw. Ken makes this course called Japanese Through Anime where he teaches you how to understand what's said in anime. It's not meant to teach you what's said in the real world. It's meant to teach you 80%. He's got this thing called Protocol 80. It's like, you'll learn 80% of what's in an anime in a month. Which I'm like, that is complete bullshit. When I heard that, when I watched his video explaining, because the way he explains it is you'll be 80% fluent in Japanese. 80% fluency. But he doesn't clarify that he means from anime, because when I asked him about it, he clarified it. So I called him up. Me and the team here, I said, you guys, man, you gotta watch this. And I was like, hey guys, Ken is going to Japanese to zero. And I just want to thank, because I always make... God bless Ken, because every now and then he gets too excited and he slurs. So do I, especially with my braces. But just because I do it doesn't mean I can't make fun of him. Anyway, so Ken in the video is like, and guys, it's just amazing what I'm going to do. We're going to be amazing. I'm like, you are promising the world to these people. And I called him up. We made fun of him, and then I called him up and said, dude, first of all, we just ripped you a new one talking about you from your video, right? You need to stop promising the world because it looks shady. And now that I've seen his stuff, by the way, I think it's great. But my mind is like, man, he's overselling it. So I told him, I called him up. I'm honest. So my point being, that whole long story was, because I'm like that in English, I'm like that in Japanese. It takes time to get your second language self up to your new language self, right? Wait, the other way around. Your normal language, your second language just takes a hard time to get to your baseline language, right? Like in Korean, I'm still not super blunt yet. In Chinese, I'm like a baby. I'm like, mama, I want milk for today. Like my Chinese is like, you can watch a video. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna do this. Here's a QR code for me speaking Chinese most of the video. It's from my Adventures in Asia channel. It's called We Make a Chinese Friend. A random Chinese girl came up to us, and I spent the entire video talking to her in Chinese. And you can see there's subtitles, how good or not good my Chinese is. Okay, but so in other words, I can't be blunt yet in Chinese. Okay, but if you're normally polite, you gotta be polite in Japanese. Whew, that was a long answer. Hopefully it helped. Next question. IB2 says, I finished the Nakama 2 textbook. Are you in the right Discord? If you are familiar with this textbook, any idea which textbook to buy from you? Well, I really don't like to give my opinion on which textbooks you should buy from me, it's not really well known about my textbooks. I really don't like to give those kind of recommendations if I can avoid it, because I feel like it's biased if I do that. So buy whatever you want. If there's a Nakama 3, get that. I mean, I wouldn't say you should get books from me. In all seriousness, though, I know what you're asking about. I don't know. I don't know the level of Nakama 2. You probably covered everything that I cover through 1 through 5, because we teach it in a very... The first 3 books are very slow paced, and then it kind of starts ramping up at book 4 and book 5. I hope that I didn't not show everything for a while. I realized I was on the main page there, showing just my camera, but this was the actual question. We saw this too. Hopefully we saw this here. All right, moving on. Oh, those are some nice looking books. All right, Droney says, ask a teacher. Should I keep learning Japanese in short bursts, or should I keep learning at a slower, steady pace? Whatever works for you. This is so independent. I'm a burst learner. I burst. But I also take trips. Like when I'm learning Korean, I go to Korea for like a month or 2 months, depending, between a month and 2 months, and I take classes. And in the morning, I'll do a group class or a private class, and then I'll flip it and I'll do a group or a private class in the right after that. So because I'm there for a short time, I can't learn the entire book that I want to learn. I jump into the middle of a course, and for example, let's say it's a 20 lesson book. In the group class, I'll be sitting like they'll be like on lesson 10, and I'll be going through 10 to 20, and then in the morning class, I'll do 1 through 10. So it's kind of confusing for me, but for me, it's a great big burst of stuff. And then the real thing that's really weird is my Korean gets better when I'm in America. For some reason, when I'm in America, it absorbs. And when I go back to Korea, I'm always better when I get back to Korea because of the time that I spent away from it. And I think that's a thing that people really forget is that you got to break. You can't age at. If you age at too much, you're going to end up either hating the language, or you're just going to, your brain is, in my mind, my humble opinion, you can't just go boom. For those of you that don't know what age at is, it's all Japanese all the time. Look it up if you want to. The guy that runs it, Katsumoto, is a friend of Ken, and Ken really respects him. And I heard really good things about Katsumoto. And then a guy named Matt versus Japan kind of adopted that system. I guess he took a class from Katsumoto and learned how to do it, and then he modified it to be what he calls mass immersion effect. But I don't know much about the new mass immersion effect. But for AJAT, and I don't know much about that either. The fact that it's just all Japanese all the time, and mass immersion effect, when I was in their Discord, it was like, you can't do anything but listen to native, nothing else. I was like, that is not a life I want to live. I would hate Korean if all I could do is listen to Korean, because I love English. English is my native language. And like I said earlier in another question, language is not an art to be perfected or mastered. It's a tool to be used. And you can get good with your language, and you can even get great with your language over time, but you shouldn't, in my opinion, make it so undesirable that you don't want to do it. Because you know what the reality is? I've been teaching Japanese now since 1998. So like 22 years. These books have been in the works since before that, 1997. Okay. So these books over time, I've done so many Ask a Teachers. I've met so many of you guys in real life, and I talk to so many people. Okay. And I know one thing is common. The biggest problem with learning Japanese, you know what it is? You know what it is? Quitting. It's the number one thing. If you put any roadblock to your Japanese, you're not going to want to do it. If it's not enjoyable. Like, you know what? Honestly, I'm fluent in Japanese, right? I have a system. I have a subscription to Japanese TV. I have it here in the office, and I have it in my house, right? And I love it. It's so fun to watch. But when I've had a hard day, I do not want to watch Japanese TV. It's too much. I just want to zone out and watch dumb YouTube videos or something funny like Nathan For You. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's funny. Nathan For You. Nathan For You. Look that up. But yeah, there's a lot of great Japanese TV shows I freaking love, and I watch them with my wife all the time now. Okay, but if I had to only watch Japanese, I don't think I'd be happy all the time, because my original programming is English, okay? So to answer your question, which was actually completely not that, it was, should you learn in bursts or should you learn at a slow, steady pace? Whatever you want. Whatever is enjoyable for you. The thing is, what are you racing towards? What are you racing towards? What is your goal? If your goal is to make friends and communicate, then guess what? Even when your Japanese is not good, you can do that. You can still make friends on that HelloTalk app, or you can make friends when you're in Japan by going to language meetups and things like that. And little by little, you can use the Japanese that you learn, and as you talk to them, you will learn Japanese. And the fact that you don't know Japanese is a way to make friends. People always think that I can't do things until I know Japanese, but the reality is it's because you don't know a lot of Japanese that you can do more with it. I have more Korean friends. I promise you, I know more Korean people, I believe, than Japanese people. That's crazy. Not in America. I know a ton of Japanese in America. I don't know almost any Koreans in America, but in Korea, I went to so many language meetups. I know more Koreans than Japanese in Japan. I have to so who do I know in this area? But in Korea, I know everybody. Right? And why is that? Because I was focused in those short bursts, and I was able to. The fact that I didn't know Korean was always a great topic to talk about, because people become your friend when they think they can help you. That's a very understated thing. I think it's even in books that talk about making friends. It's like, ask them a favor that they can actually accomplish. And if you say, excuse me, can I ask you a question about the verb ita and opta in Korean? Can you explain? And you know what? It makes them feel good. If you're a guy that, like me, who thinks they know everything, I'm just joking, but if you're a guy like that knows everything and can't get help by anybody, you're just egotistical guy that no one wants to talk to. But the fact that your Japanese is not so good, it's cute. It's interesting. And people want to help you. They want to adopt you as a friend to get your Japanese up. They're excited to help you because finally they have meaning, a little bit of meaning in their life when sometimes they might not have meaning in their life. You know what I mean? There's so many ways about it. So don't wait. Make friends right away. Short burst or long study, whatever makes you happy. I feel like I kept skating around your question, but that's how I feel about it. Sorry to get a little bit too passionate right now. Thank you for the question. Next one. Hello, Sensei. I need to know the mama grammar. Well, the mother lode of all grammars? Is that what we're talking about? The mother lode of all grammars? Yeah, buddy. Oh, no, I see your sentence now, and I understand what you mean. And what's fukuro no mama dekiru omuraisu means? And what's fukuro no means? Mean, no S. Okay, thank you so much. No problem, SR. Here's your answer. I didn't put katakana or romaji in this one. I apologize. No romanization here. So sono mama is a word you need to know. This means as is. Okay. There's kono mama, as it is. Sono mama, a little bit like as it is that way. And ano mama, like something that's farther removed. But just learn sono mama for now. So it just means as is, right? Okay. As is. So let's see it in your sentence. Fukuro no mama means as it is in the bag. Okay. So if you have a noun plus a no and then mama, it means as it is with that thing. All right. So for example, I'm going to give you this book, Kono Mama, as is. Like I'm not going to do anything else to it. Here, just take it. Kono Mama, right? And if I said, I'm going to give you, Fukuro no Mama just means in the bag. Really, it just means in the bag. It's in the bag as it is. I'm not taking it out of the bag. I'm just going to give it to you. So your entire sentence for this one, Fukuro no mama dekiru omuraisu, is a little bit technical, but omuraisu is omelet rice. It's this ketchup mixed red rice, basically, which is red because of the ketchup. Basically, it's ketchup rice with an omelet and cheese on top. It's absolutely delicious. Okay. So it's called omelet rice. It's just basically an egg and rice, but a lot of ketchup, okay? And children freaking love omurice in Japan. And the mom will always do like a little heart and a smiley, and it's just a fun thing, okay? And if you go to a maid cafe, they'll do it for you too. Okay, so fukuro no mama dekiru omurice. Omurice is what we're talking about. Everything before it is a direct modifying of it. Later on, prior to this episode, I linked to a video called The Most Important Grammar. That's what I'm talking about. This is a verb modifying a noun, a verb phrase. So, dekiru omrice means omrice that you can make, but fukuro no mama dekiru omrice means omelet rice that you can make in the bag. Probably what this is like some sort of reito shokuhin, some sort of freezer food. It comes in a bag, you pop it in the microwave or something like that, or you put it, probably the most common thing I see in Japan is you boil it in water and you put the bag in the, as it is in the bag, okay? Omelet rice that you can make in the bag, all right? Woo, there you go. All right, next question from Hidden Phantom. Hidden Phantom, I believe, is a very supportive member of Ken Cannon's system, which is Japanese through anime. Hello, I'm a P80 member. That's the Protocol 80 thing that we mentioned earlier. Okay. Question about learning through media. How much kanji should I know in order to start learning Japanese from video games? This question is not even possible to answer, and I'll tell you why. For example, I played a game called Junisai Honto no Kimochi. That game was designed for children. That game didn't require kanji. Every kanji had furigana on top, those little characters that tell you how to read the kanji. So no kanji was required. But then recently I've been playing a game called White Day, and it's got a ton of kanji. And I have an Anki list in my dictionary app. It's not exactly an Anki list, but it's a spaced repetition. Spaced repetition. What's the S stand for? Spaced repetition. And I don't remember, but it's spaced repetition. And I have like 300 words in there because I'm learning so many words from this game, and the kanji is ridiculous. And if you want to see that, take your phone, open up your camera app, and point it to this in photo mode, and it will take this link and it'll give it to you on your phone. You can click it and you can watch just one of the videos, scroll through until you see a bunch of kanji on the screen, and you'll see me reading. There's tons of kanji. It all depends on the game. All right. Here we go. Buratto says, and I believe this is the last question. Ask a teacher question. Hello, George. I was wondering if you could explain sore demo. I like this question. It's probably my favorite one because it's a struggle question, okay? It seems pretty simple to translate as even so or but still. But whenever I use it on Hello Talk, I always get corrected. Thanks for your videos over the years, Brad. Now, I asked him to please tell me what sentence he had been using that he got corrected, because that gives me a little bit of help to understand where he comes from. So we'll read it on the next page. All right, so I'm sorry, I was getting late and I didn't put any furigana up there. So whatever that kanji is, I know what it is, but you wouldn't know. But it's ryoshin, means parents, okay? It literally means, oya by itself, this second kanji, oya means parent. It can also mean parents because Japanese doesn't a base, plural and singular. But ryoshin makes it definitely both parents, okay? So, Tomu wa ryoshin ga ikasete kurenai te itta kedo, sore demo koko ni imasu. Now, this is a very English way of thinking. I understand what you're trying to do here. And what you're trying to say is, even though Tom said that his parents wouldn't let him go, but still he's here. That's what you're saying, right? But still he's here. Tom said his parents wouldn't let him go, but still, or even so, he's here. Now, more than telling you why that's wrong, because it's just wrong, it just sounds wrong, I'm going to give you a better grammar that you said that they were correcting you to a certain grammar. I don't know what that grammar was. Let me know in the comments. Did I nail it? Because I'm pretty sure they're doing it with the noni. So noni is the even though. Okay? So all of these things noni. Okay? So Tomo ryoshin ga ikasete kurenai te itta no ni. Even though Tom said his parents wouldn't let him go, he's here. That shows that contradiction. Okay? You could have also just said, Tomo no ryoshin ga ikasete kurenai te itta kedo, koko ni imasu. But he's here. Without the sore demo is superfluous. Got a lot of spit in my mouth. Sorry. Alexa, how do you say superfluous?
I pronounce that support, but I'm always working on how I say things, and I might not have it right.
That's not it. Alexa, how do you spell superfluous?
Supportableness is spelled
God dang it!
S-U.
Alexa, stop.
Oh.
Alexa, how do you spell superfluous? Alexa, what does superfluous mean? Alexa, what does superfluous mean?
Sorry, I don't know that.
Superfluous. Okay. Alexa, how do you pronounce superfluous?
I
Superfluous.
pronounce that superfluous.
Superfluous.
I'm always working on how I say things and I might not have it right.
Superfluous. Thank you. Superfluous. Good point. Thank you, Lee Davies. We cover Noni in Ya Guessed It. Where'd it go? You guessed it. My boy, Japanese Zero Book. Oh, I'm sorry. Dude, that was not anime abuse. I promise. She's totally cool. She likes it. She likes it. Yeah. Oh my god, I'm getting canceled. Sorry, Rika, I'm sorry. But look at her. She's rough, dude. We wrestle all the time, me and her. We just play around. No! Don't have her on a pillow. No, that's a very weeb thing that I just said. Alright, I think that's it, guys. Speaking of Japanese Zero Book 5, you can get your copy on Amazon. It is my favorite out of all the books that I've written, just because it's so pretty on the inside. I know you can barely see it because it's so white, but it's the best designed book that I've ever made, and I like that it's got real heavy teaching. And there will be videos coming up for it after book 4. That is it, guys. We have been. I don't know how many questions there were. It was a lot, though. But thank you so much for taking the time to be with me. Thank you for letting me teach you Japanese. Thank you for all of the support that you give me. And I want to make one special thing. Nick Capobianco, he said, "Thank you, George, for being such a vibrant personality with your humor and wonderful sensei to us home learners." Nick gave me $50 on Super Chat. I've never gotten $50 on Super Chat, so that is unexpected and appreciated. And he told me I should take my wife out to get some food, and I will do that because there's no problem going out to restaurants right now at all. You can just go to the restaurant as long as you got a hole in your mask. But no, seriously, Nick, thank you. I know that $50 is not easy to come by, and no one has to send me money. Listen, the reality is I'm doing very well. I sell a lot of books. So I know it's weird to say. I don't need donations. I know I turned on Super Chat so that people could do that, and I like it, but I also feel like it's awkward. It would be like, I'm not PewDiePie rich, but PewDiePie also doesn't ask for money. And I definitely would say, if you want to support me, the best thing you can do is watch my stuff. Watch my videos, help subscribe to my George Stromby channel where I play Japanese games if you're into that sort of thing. Watch me on my new channel, Adventures in Asia, which is my fastest growing channel ever, where I go to Japan mostly at this point, but I'll be going to all these other Asian countries, and I have a lot of fun. And it's just me being fun, and enjoy that with me, and I would appreciate that. And also, hang out in the stream with me like this and be part of it. I really appreciate it. And if you want to buy a Japanese book, if you want to recommend a Japanese book and you think that my books are good, do that. Another thing that I would really appreciate is if you have bought the book, go to Amazon and give us a comment. A review. We're very close to having 2,000 reviews. We're one of the most reviewed Japanese books. And it's probably because I ask for them every now and then. But I would appreciate that. That helps a lot. And hit the like button, as always. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And thank you for watching all the way this far. Everyone that watched this far, say something funny in the comments that I will recognize that you watch this, if you feel so inclined. All right, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. I'm not really leaving the stream, by the way. That was just the end of the Ask a Teacher. Some of you guys think I'm leaving, but I'll stay just for a little bit. We'll have casual, like, calm down chat. This is like smoking in the bed level. It's like, so, yeah.